Welcome and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Ria, and in today's video we are going to be going through the 26 books I want to read in 2026. That's crazy to say. I actually cannot believe we're nearing a new year. We are going to be using my reading journal to go through the books that I want to read next year, the 26 books I want to read in 2026. We have a real mix of fantasy, romance, some books that I don't know much about, some books I've seen recommended like absolute wildfire. I feel like I now know my reading taste a tiny bit more. I feel like every year I get more aware of my reading taste and the type of books I'll probably enjoy more than others. But again, it's always up to chance, I think. And I think this year we've really nailed a selection of books. Get straight to talking about these books. I feel so strange because I don't have any of the physical copies yet. So I have like literally nothing to do with my hands. And I've also not done a sit down video with you guys for so long. It feels strange. The first book I put on this list was Neverkeep by the Twisted Sisters, Suzanne Valenti and Caroline Peckham. I love the Twisted Sisters. We have a very much love-hate relationship. I love them because they leave me shocked and needing more, but I hate them for the very same reason. Like, everyone probably has this relationship with them if you've read their books. I have only read 7 of the Zodiac Academy books, so I do think it might take me a minute to get to Neverkeep. That is why I've put it on this list instead of just reading it this year. I honestly know nothing about it aside from the fact that it's a war college. Correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's set after the events of Zodiac Academy. I do think I need to finish off Zodiac Academy before I get to Neverkeep, just because it's in the same world, so I think I need to be done with that to fully dedicate myself to the next series. This is a series I do want to get to a bit more, I think, just because it's shorter, less to dedicate myself to, especially when it's a Twisted Sisters series, just because if you know, you know. If you know the cliffhangers, if you don't know the cliffhangers, get to know. Or don't, if you like mental sanity. All I've seen though has been amazing things and amazing ratings. A lot of the people I watch myself have loved it, so I'm very excited for that. And I mean, I think if it's written by the Twisted Sisters, I'm more likely than not going to love it. Before I move on to the next book, I do feel like I've seen people prefer it to Zodiac Academy. I feel like I've seen people prefer the main characters or the main female character. Then we have Legendborn, which I feel like is a very, very, very talked about book. I mean, I looked earlier and it has an average rating on Goodreads of 4.3 stars with almost 200,000 ratings and reviews. So that is incredible. I literally never even really thought about picking up this book when I first got back into reading in 2022. So it has more recently come onto my radar. I think it's been a book I've been wanting to pick up in the past 6 months or so. It has been around me and I have been aware of it since I started reading again, because honestly it's so loved. Every rating under it has been phenomenal and I just really want to know what it's about. It's another academic setting. If you don't already know, I love an academic setting in a fantasy specifically. Yeah, I'm so excited for this. I know nothing about it. Sorry, that's so annoying. I literally know hardly anything about it, even though it's one of the more talked about and popular books on BookTok. I'm not sure why I know nothing about it. It literally makes no sense, but I'm so excited for it. The next book I have on this list is one I feel like not as many people have heard about. It's A Bargain So Bloody. I have heard very, very little about this. I have only seen it through someone I follow on Instagram posting that it's going out of print and that it's been picked up for traditional publishing. That's literally all I've seen about it. Aside from that, I know nothing. It does sound very good. I think the female main character in this is a prisoner. I know nothing about it. I am very excited for it. I don't know if you can still get the indie edition. I believe it's on Kindle Unlimited still. I don't know. I haven't actually looked to read it, but I cannot wait. And I feel like one thing I really want to do in 2026 is start reading less talked about books and more indie books from indie authors. Your next favourite book is just sitting waiting to be read on Kindle Unlimited or by an indie author. So I really want to start reading some more niche books. I really want to just find some favourites to recommend to everyone through my platforms. The next book we have is The Wings That Bind, which is book 3 in the Bloodwing Academy series. I read On Wings of Blood back in, I don't know, was it August? I actually really loved it. I gave the first book a 5-star and then the second book I think a 3 or 3.5. The first book was so good. It had me absolutely hooked. It was a bit of a slower start because the world building is quite massive. If you love a vampire academy setting where the world is ruthless and everyone is trying to step on another to gain an advantage, you will love this. If you are a fan of Zodiac Academy and the ruthless way the world is set up, you will like the way the world is set up in Bloodwing Academy because it is similar. And I'm very excited for book 3 to come out in March. Then we go on to our next book, which is God of Ruin by, why have I forgotten her name? By Rena Kent. I think God of Ruin's book 4 in the Legacy of Gods series. I have read so far God of Malice and God of Wrath. I haven't read God of Pain, and I honestly don't think I have any interest to. I think I started it and I got a certain amount of the way through and I just wasn't feeling it and I put it down and I cannot be bothered to pick it back up again. I don't think I care for the characters or the storyline that was happening, but I do really want to read the next books after God of Wrath. So God of Ruin, God of Fury and God of War. It's about Landon and Mia. Please, I literally don't know. From what I've seen, it sounds really good and I am very excited for their story and to see a different side to Landon. Maybe we won't see a different side to him, but I am excited to see his story and to see from his perspective. From others, he sounds like an absolute idiot and I don't really like him, but I'm very excited to have his own story and just to learn more about him and to see the main female character as well. I'm hoping I enjoy this book a bit more because I enjoyed God of Malice. I didn't enjoy God of Wrath. I just didn't love it. So I'm excited to see where it goes now. But I have heard amazing things about God of Ruin and God of Fury, so I do want to read both of those just to try them. Then we have Heir of Illusion, which has literally been everywhere at the moment, and even though it's been everywhere, I know nothing about it. Isn't that a talent of mine? Which is crazy because I'm like the biggest spoiler ever. I spoil everything for myself. From what I have seen, it sounds absolutely amazing and it sounds like the type of fantasy that would be right up my alley and something I really enjoy. So of course I am very excited for this and I do think it will be one I get round to next year. A Kiss of Iron by Claire Sager. I again have seen so many of my favourite booktubers reading this and yet I have no idea what it's about. This doesn't make me sound like a very good reader. All I know is some people have loved it. And it's fantasy and I'm very excited to read it. I don't even know what type of fantasy it is. Then we have In Your Dreams by Sarah Adams. I have loved both books I've read by Sarah Adams so far. I do have Beg, Borrow or Steal to read by her before I go into In Your Dreams, but this one sounded so good that I wanted to put it on my 26 and 26 anyway, and it's also a very late release this year. I think it's literally the 30th of December. So I just thought may as well, and then it's also finishing off a series. That is a good motivation to get to Beg, Borrow or Steal and then In Your Dreams. Like I said, I have loved Sarah Adams' previous books in this series and I do really want to continue them. She's just amazing at writing a cute, fluffy romance. I love it. Then we have Psychotic Obsession by Lee Rivers. I have read the Edge of Darkness trilogy. It was emotional torment. And I loved it. I loved every second in the series. It was pain at times, but I love Stacey Rhodes so much. I think she's, out of all the characters in that series, in the trilogy, she's definitely my favourite. I love Cade and I love Tobias. I love all of the characters. But she just, her strength is, honestly, it leaves me speechless. I don't even know how to describe how strong she is. I'm not saying Cade isn't strong, but his strength is openly talked about and it's so acknowledged. I feel like Stacey's was acknowledged and then completely moved past. We saw her maybe 10 pages of the entire trilogy is about her and what she's literally lived through for her entire teenage years. It wasn't acknowledged and I feel like it could have been handled better, and that is why I am so, whenever I talk about it, I talk about her mainly instead of Cade and what he's been through, because his trauma and everything is so talked about already. I'm not going to go on a tangent about that because I will sit here all day talking about it. I'm so excited for Psychotic Obsession. I believe it's set when Tobias and Arya meet, kind of like their story. I love Lee Rivers and her writing, and I cannot wait to see Tobias's origin. We then have Wrath of an Exile by Monty J. This is the, not sister series, but it's like a prequel series of the Hollow Boys children, I believe. I think there's only one book out at the moment, which is Wrath of an Exile. And I haven't even read the entire Hollow Boys series. I believe I will. So I believe this will also be picked up at some point after I finish that. I've heard amazing things about it. I love Monty J so much. I love both of the books I've read in the Hollow Boys series so far, and I cannot wait for this book. So best believe it will be picked up. I've heard so many good things. The next book I have on my list is Lady of Darkness by Melissa K. Rorick. I have wanted to pick up this series for the longest time ever, and I have been making my way through the Legacy series. I'm only 2 books in, 2 more books to go, but I do really want to read this next series because honestly I feel like I might enjoy it a bit more, just because I did love Reign of Shadows and Endings, but I feel like the way Legacy is gonna end might not be for me, and I don't actually know if I should just pause where I am on the Legacy series and go back into the Darkness series first and read that. I feel like I've seen people recommend reading them interchangeably, or Lady of Darkness series first and then going into Legacy, because you understand it more and then you can enjoy it more. I don't know what to do. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. It is definitely on my 26 and 26 and I will definitely get around to it then. But for now, I'm leaving it as it is. I haven't picked up book 3 yet in the Legacy series, but it is one to be picked up. So I need to decide what I'm gonna do. The next book I have is The Wolf King book 3. This is one of the books that I don't have a cover for because there's no cover, there's no title. It is a new release for, I think it's meant to be summer next year. We don't have a release date yet. We literally have nothing apart from the fact that it should be coming in the summer of next year. I am so excited for book 3. I have loved the first 2 books in this trilogy. And I just need her to end up with Blake at this point. Because come on, you cannot read her and Blake and her and Callum and root for her and Callum. I just don't believe you can do that. Callum just gives me the ick. I don't know where it's gonna go. I feel like the ending of The Night Prince was just like a complete oh my god moment. I don't know where book 3 is gonna go. It feels completely different to where we were at the point of the beginning of book 1 and then the ending of book 1 and then the beginning of book 2, it feels so different. We've learnt so much and I'm at the point where I don't even know what to believe. I don't know if Blake's lying to her. I don't know if Blake's like a victim. I mean, I don't know. And I need book 3 desperately because, wow, I love you, Lauren. You were amazing and I don't know how you have gotten me so addicted to these 2 books. I need more by you, please. I'm literally obsessed. Then we move on to book 3, which is Fae and Alchemy, book 3. So we've got Quicksilver, Brimstone, and then book 3, which is coming out at the end of next year. I think it's November again. I haven't even read Brimstone yet, and I'm already putting book 3 on my 26 in 2026 because I know I'll love Brimstone. I'm hoping I don't eat my words with that, but I adored Quicksilver and I've seen so many good things about Brimstone. I've seen people saying they prefer it to Quicksilver, the first book, and I've seen they love it. So I'm gonna devour this book, I hope. And that is why book 3 is on my 2026 TBR, 26 and 2026. I cannot wait. I love Callie Hart. Honestly, I know Quicksilver has very mixed feelings. It's either so hyped up or so hated. I'm on the love side, if you can't tell. I love Kingfisher and I love Cerise. Is it Cerise? I absolutely adored the plot, the story, everything that happened in book 1. I do feel like I need a reread before I go into book 2, but I've tried to do a recap and I feel like it's not recapped everything I can remember, and then it's recapped loads of things that I literally cannot remember at all. So I don't know what's going on there. I cannot wait. I'm so excited, and it's another book that I won't have until a certain point of the year, so it means I can get to other books before. Then we move on to A Touch of Golden Madness. This has been on my to read list. Then we have The Jacid Heir, and if you don't know, get to know because this is so popular. It is so another type of book that I absolutely adore. Sorry, I'm just telling you all the fantasies I love, which is pretty much all of them, but I love an ancient history sort of fantasy. And Ember in the Ashes, so my vibe. I loved the first book. I haven't finished the series yet, but I adore it. That is ancient Rome, which I love. And then The Jacid Heir is like ancient Egyptian, Middle Eastern sort of fantasy, political. Oh, I love it. I need more recommendations like that. I can't. The vibes. I don't know if I've read anything else similar, but I do love when it's almost like not a retelling, but I keep wanting to say that, but where the setting and the world is ancient and fantastical, and it's just got those like old ancient history vibes. And you know, in the story there's always some sort of almost corruption within the hierarchy and within the system. I've also seen so many good things and so many amazing art pieces taken from The Jacid Heir, and I've seen so many videos on it and I'm so excited. It's a duology and I cannot wait. I feel like I'm gonna love it. I have it on my Kindle and it's one I do really want to get to, but I've been saying I don't want to pick it up until I've finished the Ember Quartet because in my mind they're similar sort of vibes and I don't want to go between the two, so I do want to finish that before I go into The Jacid Heir. Then we have Culty by Mariana Zapata. I have read 2 books by her so far, and I also have The Wall of Winnipeg and Me to read. I have loved her books, so I think it is now my mission to read her entire backlist because I feel like I'm gonna love every single one of her books. And Culty is my next target after The Wall of Winnipeg and Me, and then I think we can just kind of go through everything else and pick them all up. That is why it's on my list for this, because I think after The Wall of Winnipeg and Me, that's going to be the one to read. She's the queen of slow burns, if you don't know, and I love that. that's why I adore her so much. Then we have Beautiful Fiend by Lola King. I honestly have no idea what I'm going into, and I'm quite honestly scared. All I know is it's almost like a darker version of why do I want to say Maid or Sinners Anonymous? It's like that but darker. I'm very excited, I'm very scared and intimidated, so we will see. I'm hoping I enjoy it, but I don't know. Then we have Hollow Heathens. No idea what I'm going into here. I think it's not a fantasy, but it's almost like a paranormal romance with fantasy sort of themes, but it's not a fantasy world. I don't know, but I'm very excited. I have literally not seen much about this. Again, very excited. I don't know what else to tell you. That's it. The Knave and the Moon by Rachel Gillig. This is book 2 in the Stonewater Kingdom duology. I loved The Night and the Moth, so I'm very excited to see where book 2 goes. And I love how Rachel always writes a duology, because I feel like we don't get many duologies anymore. I love going into book 1 knowing there's going to be a cliffhanger at the end, but then knowing going into the next book, by the end of it, it's all going to be resolved and you're going to have all the answers you want. Because, again, you don't get enough duologies these days. Again, another world I love, gothic fantasy. So my vibe. I just love a gothic, especially when it's October, winter, October, November, December, January, when it's winter months and it's dark early in the evening. You can just get in bed, cozy, and pick up your gothic fantasy. There's nothing else like it. Then we have A Tribute of Fire, which I actually own. I didn't realise this was even on here because my cover's not on here, but we then have A Tribute of Fire, which I've just realised I do actually have the physical copy of. It's because on here I don't have the cover on yet, so that's fine. This I've had for a few months now, but I haven't picked it up yet. I am very excited for it. I feel like this is a book I could potentially love. It has trials in it, which I am kind of over at this point. I feel like it is so done now, but at the same time, a done correctly and done well trials aspect in a fantasy always hits. It will never cease to not hit for me. Does that make sense? I don't know. I do love trial. As long as it's done well and it's done uniquely, I love it. And anyway, this sounds really good and I've seen good things about it, so I'm excited to see what it's about. I believe this is a trilogy and the last book is coming out this month, so that's always very exciting when going into a new book and a new series. Aside from the fact that it's got trials in it, I know hardly anything about it. It's a dying desert nation cursed centuries ago by an earth goddess. That sounds good. That sounds so good. I'm very excited for this. I hope I love it because I've already got book 2 on my TBR. I have Empire of the Vampire, which is a book I'd say is more out of my comfort zone, just because it's, I know this is going to sound bad, but written by a man. I feel like I literally have never read a book written by a man, which is crazy to say. I genuinely don't think I have. I am very excited for it. I've heard so many good things and I always see it whenever I go to any bookstore. Wherever I go, I feel like it follows me and I am very intrigued. I've recently seen a lot of people recommending it and I wasn't originally going to put it on my 26 and 2026, but I thought, why not? It puts me in a position where I'm reading out of my comfort zone, which is something I want to do more. And I'm very excited. I love a vampire fantasy. My god, why do I keep saying this? Just assume I love every type of fantasy, please. I'm intrigued to go into it and to know what it's about. And I've seen lots of people love it. So we will see. We then have Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan, which is another book I'm very excited for. I've read the Hoops series by her and I have the first book in all the Kingsmen series, but I have yet to read Before I Let Go in the Skyland series. I don't know why, I've seen it everywhere and I have book 2 of that, but I haven't seen Before I Let Go in person, so I haven't picked it up to buy. I do really want to read it because I love the way Kennedy Ryan incorporates more emotional aspects into her romances. Longshot tore me apart. And the way she handles such deep and hard-hitting topics is, honestly, she just does it so well every single time, and I love her for it. I love an emotional romance way more than a surface level romance. She just makes me so attached to the story and to the characters, and I cannot wait to see this next series because I've heard nothing but good things about it. Next book we have is probably my most anticipated read of next year and most anticipated release of next year. She has very speedily become my favourite romance author of all time, and I'm not afraid to say that anymore. It's literally undeniable at this point. In Her Own League by Liz Tomforde. This is a spin-off and a standalone from the Windy City series. I have loved every single book in that series, and I will pause quickly and say Mile High, so underrated, so overhated. I'm not giving anyone an excuse to hate on that book because, sorry, are you jumping on the bandwagon? I don't understand, and I see people go, yeah, I've seen people say not to read this book, so I'm just gonna go straight into the right move. What happened to forming our own opinions? Don't. We're going to talk about the cover. Have you seen it? I mean, if you haven't seen it, please look it up. It's going to be on here. It's so gorgeous and I cannot wait for this. This is about, it's the coach of the baseball team, and it's Miller from Caught Up book 3, her dad. I'm very excited, and we did also get introduced to the female main character, and I knew the second we met her she was going to be the female main character of some sort of book because it was just, the crumbs were too obvious. That is, I can't remember her name, but she's in Play Along. I loved her the moment she was introduced, and I cannot wait to have their book. Again, probably one of my most anticipated releases ever because it's Liz Tomforde. It's Windy City spin-off. I love her. The next book we have is Caught on Camera by Chelsea Curto. I actually have put Camera Chemistry, but I didn't realise that's not the first book in the series, so we're just going to ignore that. I'm very excited for this. I've wanted to go back into Chelsea Curto's backlist since I read all the books in the DC Star series. Just want to go back into people's backlists instead of reading the popular series. I have no idea what it's about, but I believe we see one of the characters in the group. Am I crazy for saying that? I feel like we see the female main character of one of the books. I don't know. Then we have another book that's slightly out of my comfort zone, which is Blood of Hercules. This is just out of my comfort zone purely because I literally never read books like this. It's another duology as well, I believe, which is so fun and so exciting. I feel like next year is going to be my year of duologies. I've never read anything like it, and I'm again so excited to see what it's like, to see what it's about. I've seen so many amazing things on it and about it, so I cannot wait to form my own opinion and go into it. And the last book I have is Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. I have the second book in the Not in Love series, which is Problematic Summer Romance, and I do really want to read Not in Love. I've heard so many amazing things about it, and again I want to form my own opinion on it and just see what it's about. I am loving Ali Hazelwood at the moment. I read Mate by her, which I absolutely adored, and then I went into Bride, which was so good, and I was eating up until something happened which kind of put me off of it. Obviously I'm not going to let that affect my opinion on Ali Hazelwood. I'm still going to read all of her books because I loved Mate so much, and I loved the beginning of Bride so much that I just need more, and I need to read all her books. I feel like it's a perfect book by her, and it's probably the one I want to read most aside from Problematic Summer Romance. So I put it on my 26 and 2026. Those are all the books that I have. Those are 26 books that I want to read next year. This video is an hour long. The footage I have is an hour. Oh my god, what have I been talking about? Anyway, that's that. I hope you enjoyed. If you have read and recommend any of these books, please let me know in the comments. And I'm just so excited. I feel like this year is a really good year of books. I feel like this selection is a really good one, and I feel like I will get through all of these. I always say this about a TBR of sorts, and I never do. If I'm gonna get through any, let it be this, because I'm so excited for all of these and they're all books I really want to read. So we will see. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please let me know, and I would love to see you again in the future. For now, that is it. Like I said, I hope I see you all soon.